Hello.
Hi, guys. This is the Facial Recognition Comedy Podcast. I am Fizaa.
I'm Pallavi.
I'm Zahra Ali.
And we are here with us and our sound engineer, producer, Paul.
What up?
What up, Paul?
I'm over here sending texts. What up, guys?
All right, texting us because we can't talk. Well, we could talk to each other, having multiple conversations.
I like that you said hello world. Do you know what that is?
Saying
It's,
hi to the...
Yeah, but it's also like the first program that people learn how to write whenever they learn programming.
I didn't know that.
How to
Hello
print out
world.
Hello World.
Hello World is a simple program that when
simple
runs displays a message, Hello World.
Look, it's just in my
It's like
makeup.
the first thing you learn in every language, every programming language.
Well, there are so many things that we say like as idioms or that are just sayings that like derive from like some sort of pop culture, like a movie reference or something like that.
It's like, I think like just saying hello to the world came first, but then that was like what they, you know how like the first phone call was something specific or what, you know, like people took from their daily lives and they were like, these are going to be the first things that I do in this technology.
Hello, world.
There we go.
Yeah. So this has been an exciting weekend. We had our show yesterday. It was the All Zahra show. There are 4 Zahras in comedy. We work very closely with one of them.
Yeah.
Zahra Ali.
And it was also her birthday weekend.
Yeah.
She turned 21.
Zahra? I turned 28.
Oh, 28.
Yes.
You old bitch.
I'm old as fuck now.
Zahra's the baby of the group.
Yeah.
All right.
Forever 28. That's what I'm going with.
No, just say you're 28. Don't say forever 28. Then they know you're not 28.
Okay, yeah.
I mean, you are 28.
I'm 28.
I mean, you're 21.
Sure, yeah.
Wait, if Zahra's now the baby of the group, then I just get a shit on her for being younger than us.
Sure, you can. Go ahead.
Oh my God, Zahra. All your
but
behaviors are so young.
Well, did she say?
Do I do that? I don't do that.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
All right.
I mean, I was just talking about there's certain developmental milestones that are hit with age, you know. So, not that Zahra's hit them.
Yeah. So, it was my birthday weekend, and we had the All Zahra show yesterday, which was fantastic. Everybody did such a great job. Go look up all the other Zahras in comedy. There's Zahra Nurbaksh, Zahra Mizrahi, Zahra Khan. We all had a great time. Everybody had stellar sets, and I think we made comedy history last night.
How many? So, do you think we had all the Zahras?
I'm sure there's another Zahra out there at an open mic somewhere, and we
want to know who she is. We want to be aware. We want to have all the Zahras on our radar.
Yeah, if your name is Zahra and you are pursuing stand-up comedy, reach out.
If you're a South Asian or Middle Eastern woman, email us a clip of your stand-up at facialrecognitioncomedy@gmail.com.
Yeah, that too. You don't have to be a Zahra.
We try to look for people in different scenes whenever we travel. We try to look for people here. We want to help people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Come get your stage time in Los Angeles.
Yeah. We want to, this is what the platform's for. But okay, I know it's not your birthday weekend anymore, but I think
it's still my birthday month.
But I think there's something in this,
which is ridiculous. I don't know who started that. Like even Martin Luther King Jr. only gets one day, you know? But somehow, I don't know.
But isn't it interesting that okay, we're all in Hollywood, right?
Yeah.
And it's just do you feel comfortable? Well, I finally feel comfortable saying my age. But I've been told not to. 4 years ago, I was told not to say my age.
I was comfortable saying my age until I got deeper into the industry. So I would say in the last 2 years, I've started
and it doesn't help, but as we get deeper into the industry, we also get older too, right?
Yeah. So it's unless you start off at 19 or something, you know,
14
or 14,
child star to be.
Yeah, unless you start off as Jennifer Lawrence or Natalie Portman, you know, the odds are against you.
Thank God
I've never felt uncomfortable saying my age, but I
you're not there yet.
But I also don't like lying. I just don't like it. And I feel like the people, as people get older, if they're more honest with their age and they're able to get all these roles and do them well, then that'll open avenues for everyone.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's almost like we have to fall on the knife and just, you know, if we have to be that change.
Also, it's
if we want to even,
it's what you look like, and we all look young as fuck. So
yeah, but people have lost jobs. You know, I pulled a white hair out on my way to an audition. I was like, I'm not chancing this shit. Like,
yeah, I mean, we all still have
bills.
the pressure for like our physical appearance for sure. That's like a separate topic, I think. But I think like if we look young, which we're lucky to look young for our age, and we're able, then it like gives us an even more of a reason to be like, yeah, I look young. I'm older. I'm more skilled. Like, you know,
that doesn't
whatever.
matter. Honestly, I mean, I think it's changing a little bit in Hollywood because there's very talented women above 40 that are trying to make waves and change that. But it's still like at the top of the totem pole, it's still like older white male executives that are like, this number works and we're going to keep using this formula over and over again.
Right.
So
yeah,
like it in the room, in some rooms, it hurts you to say that, oh, I'm 37. Not that I am, but it's like, it will hurt you. Like I know
not that I am.
No, I'm not 37.
she's
That's for
definitely
sure. But it will hurt you. Like if you're like around the age of 40, it will hurt you more than help you, no matter how talented you are.
But it's not about helping you. It's about like, it's helping like the community, right?
Yeah,
'Cause
but
like,
I mean,
it's what you said.
That's
it's
what
like,
the individual
It's
prioritizes. Right?
it's what you're saying. It's
But
like
not
falling
everything-
on the sword, right? Like there's got to be like
That's a
people
personal
who, like,
preference, though. So like,
No, I know, but I'm saying like there've got to be people who like push forward in every industry against every like beauty standard or like whatever.
Yeah,
and it's
sure,
harder
there
for
are.
them. And so that's why I'm like, fuck it, I'll just say my age. I don't care.
Okay. I mean, if you want to be the social justice warrior of ageism in Hollywood, there is no one stopping you
I mean,
from doing that.
I think it also helps
know?
that you're like young too.
Yeah.
So like,
it helps now. When I
was in my,
when I
in
was
that
a certain
decade,
age, I was telling
all
everybody.
about my
I was telling everybody. But now that I'm starting to get booked in things, and it's like I'm in a room full of women who are like 10 years younger than me.
It's a livelihood thing. If
Yeah.
you're making your money from
a money
entertainment, like you,
Yeah.
it's just like, it's so much pressure. It's so much pressure. And I never like care. Like my mom is very beautiful and she always like, she put powder on me when I was a baby. Like it was important for me to look good. So I sort of went the opposite way. I was like, I don't give a shit what I look like. That changed when I moved to Hollywood. I feel like everyone moves to Hollywood and they get better looking.
Yeah, that's how I feel. I feel like I've done that too, but also part of it is like paying more attention because other people pay more attention. But yeah, in terms of like the age thing, that's just like people have to like get spots and then be like, I'm actually 50. I'm Sandra Bullock in the Blind or Bird Box or whatever.
Yeah, but Sandra Bullock had to work up to that.
And she's Sandra Bullock.
And she's Sandra Bullock.
if it was Sandra Johnson from down the street, you think she's going to get that movie at 40? Probably not. Maybe.
No, but I'm saying like that's the first time I've seen a 54-year-old woman be cast alongside a 28-year-old man. So things are changing.
But how many? Sandra Bullock has been around.
I do agree.
for
Things are
decades.
evolving.
I know,
right?
but I'm just saying
and
it's
she
like the
earned
first
that.
time she's
and
done
because
it.
it's time for Hollywood wants to do. Also, Sandra Bullock owns production companies. She can like put out her own movie, you know, and like her career now is conducive to a place where she can be the lead next to a male lead who's half her age, like that.
She picked
works,
him. I'm sure she's the one who cast him. I'm sure she was an executive producer. But that's the thing is Sandra Bullock is different from a working class actor.
Yeah.
Right.
Also,
but
fun
that's just
fact
never
about
happened before. It's just an indication of the changing times.
Also, fun fact about Sandra Bullock is production was held up on the movie because she was waiting for her face to heal. So there's still like beauty standards in Hollywood. Like, yeah, she's a 50-year-old woman who's starring against a 20-something, but hey, she had to heal from her plastic surgery.
I think we have to honor, like, there is that difficulty women have to experience.
Yeah.
And then I think we also have to honor that like, there is change.
Yeah.
And I think that has been happening more exponentially, but the pressure is still enormous.
Yeah, I'm not denying that it's not enormous. I'm just saying,
And
like,
it's damaging.
somebody's got to.
painful.
It's a struggle, but we got to like push against
But
it.
like, look, just think of the things that she had to do to be in that role. She had to be a name, and she's co-starring against someone, the male lead, who's like, you know, I don't know,
fine.
He's fine. But does he have the same accolades that she does in her career? No, he's just a very attractive dude, right? And like Hollywood's been doing that with like the male leads and the female leads forever.
It gives you opportunities.
Yeah.
Opportunities give you more opportunities.
Yeah.
So it's just it becomes an uphill battle as you look older if you don't have a body of experience.
Exactly.
And, and you know, like, I want that to change. Of course we want that to change, but we have to acknowledge like, okay, this is a real struggle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's not. But
So
I
hats
think,
off
like,
to Sandra Bullock for doing that. And didn't they do that, like a version of that, and Stella got her groove back? You know?
dude. Tay Diggs.
Yeah, Tay Diggs was
Angela Bassett.
Yeah. So
Woo!
I mean, that's existed for a while, but I think because Sandra Bullock did it, it's like now like a thing. Like,
But
yes, women are doing it. And I'm like,
And
yeah, but
also
she has
in,
how much plastic surgery on her face now in order to do that
and also
pull that off?
in the what's the Brad Pitt movie where he broke out the two women? Fuck, what is it called?
Thelma and Louise.
Thelma and Louise.
Yeah.
That happened there too.
Yeah.
So there have
Gina
been.
Davis and Susan Sarandon still look fine.
They look
Yeah.
fine as
Yeah.
fuck.
Yeah.
Who are their people, man? Look, we need
We-
to
we
know
gotta-
when we come into some money, man.
We got to find out these Hollywood. I want to know who J-Lo's person is.
What? I know.
Hasn't she been doing crazy shit for like 30
Oh my
years?
God,
though?
forever.
Stem cells and stuff. I
Yeah.
don't know.
I'll take
Forever.
stem cells.
Leave those for science.
I am
don't
science.
know.
We're all this is science.
No, it's not. You are not arguing that cosmetics.
You are
stuff
not
is
like
science.
the spokesperson for science.
I am on this podcast.
Not necessarily.
But I
I come
am.
from a family of scientists.
Yeah, but you're not a scientist. It's like not to compare you to him, but it's like when Trump says like, "Oh, my
Practicing
uncle
the
was an
scientific
engineer."
method.
What makes you
I've
a
taken
scientist?
Yeah, what makes you a scientist?
What's the credential of a
Because do
scientist?
you feel like you're more of a scientist than us? Because that's what it seems.
I am
yeah.
a scientist. Like I am. I practice it as a career. I've been in science since I was like 12 or 13 in labs working.
So you'd think that we can't practice the scientific method?
No, you can, but you're not like a scientist.
Okay, well, what makes a person a comedian?
You are like it's part of your career.
Okay, so
Okay,
Well,
so are there credentials?
it's part of what you people
What
do
are the
stand- yeah.
credentials of being a stand-up comedian? Like, is it
That's
like
what I'm saying. It's just like
there's
I
no
don't-
degree in stand-up comedy, right? But
Yeah.
there's degrees in
science.
stand-up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
there are classes, but
Yeah. If you took a stand-up comedy class, we're not hating on you.
so I do agree. Like, of course, you're an engineer, you've gone to school, you practice this, but it's just like I don't think that I don't like my opinion about science, anything in science being undermined. And I feel like that happens often here.
Yeah, I don't I agree that
There's a lot of sort of scientific oppression. It's almost like dogmatic.
Whoa,
I don't think it's
And I love science. I love the
That's the
scientific
word.
method. I think
want
it's
people
very
to
important.
love it, but
Generationally, we need that body of information to carry over. But the thing is, I think on the opposite side of like people who are fanatic, like, religious people, there are people who are like, this is it.
No, I'm like I agree that I want people to love science. That's why I talk about it on here. I want to engage in discussions and everything. But I do think that science is one of those things that people think they know about when they really don't. Like this is the reason that people think that they know about global warming and vaccinations and flat Earth methods is that they look at things that they think are related to the scientific method, and they look at things that they think they know about. And there's actually this phenomenon where people who know less are more confident. It's actually like a named thing, a named
Ignorance is a
phenomenon.
bliss.
What is
Right.
that
They're
called?
also happier. I'm sure.
When I'm like, oh, that's not science. Like in this case, I was talking about like obviously science is used in cosmetics. Like that's a thing that happens. Like
I want the stem cell. I want all the science on my face.
but I was
Shit.
I know
I can
but
appreciate science. I can practice science. I can read science. I don't have a degree in science, but that doesn't mean that I can't have an opinion
You
or
can't-
knowledge about science.
I'm not.
or in
I
that
never
field.
said you can't.
Yeah,
I'm just
I
saying
appreciate that,
like,
but sometimes I feel like there is some shitting.
Okay,
on-
so
Well, I
where's
just
the
feel like
argument
I feel
here?
like you don't take me seriously when I talk about science, and you don't like you think that I'm like you guys, and I'm not. Like I am a scientist, I am an engineer, I have an opinion about it, and I practice it in my
you
career.
guys.
What do you
guys.
Hold on.
What do you mean by you guys?
I mean, you and Zahra.
Wait, hold on.
You're not the same person.
Hold on.
I know. I'm saying
what just
that
happened here?
I'm
Okay.
saying that I'm not like you or Zahra in that I am actually a scientist. Like it's my career. It's been my source
So
of
we're
income.
not scientists. And
No,
you're
you're
a
not.
scientist. But what does that have to do with being?
Wait, hold on.
Unlike.
Is this
So I'm saying I'm
Are
not
we
like
What does that have
arguing
to do with us?
You guys
Sorry,
can have
guys. Can we-
opinions and knowledge and like what you were saying about it, but I'm saying I'm at a different level than you are.
In
Okay.
science, sure.
You're at a different level in like acting. Like I don't know as much as you know about acting. You've been practicing that. You've been putting hours into it.
And you
I don't
was
know
a
as much as Zahra about consulting or business.
I was a stand-up
like-
before I was an actor.
Yeah.
Okay,
You guys
so
have been
what's-
doing stand up longer than I have.
I'm trying to figure out what triggered this debate right here. Is it just that Fizaa, you're saying that you want stem cells or anything else, like any advancements in cosmetic research and cosmetic surgery or whatever that, you're open to it, right?
Well, I think
that's what you were saying.
It was less of a debate, I think, and more of an expression of my
just feeling
feelings and an
stifled.
observation. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
So you're
So
pro
it's not
cosmetic.
an argument.
No, I
you
think
know.
this is beyond the cosmetics thing.
Yeah, but
But I
you're
am pro
saying-
cosmetic.
Okay.
And I am, well,
Okay, but I'm
don't
trying
want-
to understand what Pallavi's scientific standpoint was on like stem cells.
Oh, it wasn't even about that. It was her being upset about my authority on any scientific subject. I think that's what the argument is transferred into. I was just making
Okay.
like a side
upset.
comment.
I think, like, let's be more specific. I think it was dismissed.
no,
And
okay.
that's hurtful.
Yeah, I understand how that could be hurtful.
So
I
I
think
wanted
part
to
of-
call it out because
yeah, that's fair. I think
it needs to be
part of the
acknowledged.
reason
Are you?
that I do that
I'm sorry.
might
Are you an
be-
expert on like stem cell research for cosmetics?
no.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's the thing is if you're a specialist in one field, does that make you an authority on science?
No, but I have a
With a
general
capital S.
understanding that's probably much better than yours. And that's just because I've had to take like 5 terms of math and 5 terms of physics and 3 terms of bio. Like,
Okay, but what does that have to do with science as a whole? You know what I'm saying? Like it's just
Okay, like let's pull back a little bit. I was gonna say
I
that
think the
because I
topic was
think-
just stem cell
Wait,
research.
can I-
because I think
talk,
being
guys?
a blanket authority
Yeah.
is that's a little, you know.
I'm not a blanket authority, and I've said this before. I've said like Watson and Crick thinks that he's a blanket authority on science, and because he won the Nobel Prize, and he used that as a method of pushing his racist agenda in neuroscience
But
when
see,
he's
I
not
think-
a neuroscientist. So I'm not saying that I'm an authority figure overall. I was going to say that often my dismissal of you is a defense mechanism because you undermine actual science that I talk to you about. So like when we were on the podcast earlier and we were talking about ghosts and I had data and I like read the papers for it, a lot of the feedback I got was just no. And I often feel disrespect from you guys on like when I actually understand the mechanisms behind things and I try to like be the authority on that. And overall, I think I do have a better general understanding of how things function because I have a stronger foundation in these subjects than you guys do. But when I'm not saying
I
that
think
I'm an expert
the
in
comparison's interesting because
not
it's
an-
just like, well, why does there have to be sort of that role of
because
authority?
I'm not saying I have to because I think that like
That's interesting.
I'm not saying that I have to have like authority. I'm just saying I'm better versed in it than you.
Okay,
And
but why?
and that's the only reason that I
what's
feel
the point though? Like why?
that because I feel frustrated when you like assume that I have an equal amount of knowledge because I do know that I have more knowledge. And so when you say that our opinions are the same
Well-
in certain subjects,
Okay, I think you're putting words in my mouth. First of all,
No,
because
no,
There
I-
are certain things that I did not say.
No,
and I
this is
can't
my
say that
this is my interpretation of your
Okay.
dismissal of my opinion when I bring up these topics.
Okay, gotcha. Your
Right?
experience of me. Gotcha.
Yes. So that's why like and some of these things are like jokes. Like I know that there's science involved in cosmetics and I know that you can have advancements in cosmetics at the same time that you have advancements in Parkinson's disease. But or like Alzheimer's or whatever, you know, like things that stem cells are used for. But my like being like that's not science is like, oh, like I have an urgency to focus on things that are like disease related and whatever. So there's a lot of context that I'm not providing in like a side comment like that.
I'm going to bring on I'm not going to bring her on here because she can't appear in thin air, but my friend Gloria Allerby is a chemical scientist for she's worked with a lot of different makeup brands within the
She's
beauty
a real
industry.
scientist.
She's a scientist in the beauty industry. So I'm going to bring her on so we can actually have a scientific discussion about makeup and beauty and the advancements of it. And then we can, you know, all have like a nice debate about it. You know, and we talk about the science that Pallavi knows with the science that Gloria knows.
No one wants to hear about my science.
I mean,
It's not that I don't want to hear, and it's not that I don't think that it's not that I wait, hold on.
science.
Can I finish? One sec.
Okay.
It's not that I don't think that not having a formal education, I don't think that a formal education is the only way to access science, and that's something that I want people to know. Like you can go,
And that's important.
You can
That's
go.
very important to point out.
You can go and you can find like articles. You can read them yourself. Nothing is stopping people from accessing like real science. There's websites you can go to. There's published data, there's whatever, and everybody has. That's like the beautiful fucking thing about it. Now there are companies where, as a child, you can get access to $1 million equipment. You can send them samples that you want run for your science project in like 7th grade, 8th, 6th grade, and you can send them samples and have them run these like really big expensive tests on them for cheaper now, and then you can like create your own experiments and stuff. The only reason that I'm saying that I'm it's just I have more hours in this than you guys.
Yeah, and that's a fact.
That's all I'm saying.
But the whole, I think the language of I'm an expert, sort of like that I'm better than you is, and I think as a friend, let me finish. As a friend, I have to tell you that comes off as condescending in my experience.
I feel the same from you, about it too.
I appreciate hearing that, but I have to say, like, the dismissal. So it's mutual, and I think it's important to come to an understanding. But I think, like, also, like you saying I dismissed your stuff, that's valid. That's your experience, me. But also, I feel like a lot of my experiential knowledge with sort of metaphysical. I've had metaphysical experiences. I'm just gonna fucking say it. That is an experience, and I have talked to other people who've had similar experiences, and it has been on multiple occasions, and that was dismissed.
Yeah,
and that's not, and that is valid too. So maybe I was dismissing something that was valid for you, but I was being dismissed as well.
I'm gonna say this, and it might sound bitchy, but I don't mean it. This is why it might sound condescending. Anecdotal evidence doesn't matter when it comes to the scientific method, because part of it is like repeatability.
Yeah, so it's different. It's a different thing, but that doesn't so from a scientific method, sure, that doesn't fit within this body of information. So it's not scientific. But it doesn't, you can't dismiss it as information.
I'm not going to dismiss it as information, because eventually sometimes some experiences that are repeatable that haven't been considered. And I don't think that's
condescending either.
That haven't been considered, but that's why I'm like, well, that's not science. Do you see, like, I'm going by the scientific method, and I say that's not science, but I'm not saying you didn't experience or you didn't have certain feelings or whatever, you know what I mean? So, but when it comes to scientific method, science, being a scientist, those are the rules we follow in order to have the type of quality of information we put out, or conclusions we put out there.
So what I want you to know is that I don't mean to undermine that. That wasn't my intention. If I did, let me know.
And I don't want to sound like, I don't want people to think that I'm like I don't want science to be inaccessible. I don't want people to think that scientists are shitty. Like, I want kids to, I want you to get excited about shit I talk about. That's why I'm like, hey, what category should I talk about this week? Because I want it to be like, I want you to be able to think like, oh, this is so cool that science is doing. Because to me, like, science is like as cool as magic. I'm like, the shit that we can accomplish is insane. And I want people who aren't scientists to feel that too.
Magic is science, is science that hasn't been discovered yet.
It may be like there's like the things.
Or magic is magic as we know it is mostly like illusions, right? So it's illusionist from what we understand. Yeah, so that's what we understand.
Can I bring up something else that's along this topic that bothers me? It's something that I talked to my roommates about. But with that like confidence and like not knowing stuff. Like, there are certain times where you guys like talk about astrology or talk about certain things that I don't believe or have like this scientific pattern to them or whatever, or like have a different explanation. And you guys like roll your eyes at me and you're like, ugh, I can't believe you don't believe it. And
you know what?
That feels,
I've never said that.
Let me explain. That's not my intention behind it. I think it's a defense because I'm preemptively expecting you to say something bitchy, honestly. During those times I have to like just ignore. I have to like remove myself from the conversation because. But you know what? Like, that is me sort of projecting that because you didn't say shit. So I'm just sort of like, so yeah, that's on me.
The side comments might be my defense mechanism.
But it's just like astrology is fun though. Man. I want to be able to like enjoy
I'm not
without
saying,
feeling like you're rolling my. So it is like
I'm not saying like go have fun.
No, but I know.
Do it, whatever. But like
it's just
like
a way for
the
people
vibes off of you.
It's also a way for people to relate to each other. Like I don't really know if I believe in astrology, but it's pretty cool that I have all these Capricorns coming up to me like, hey, it's a Capricorn party. I'm like, okay, yeah, sure, let's have a party.
That's fine, but I can like sit there and not say anything. But like,
and you can roll your eyes too. Like you have every right to roll your eyes. I'm just explaining sort of. That's the mechanism behind why I.
But I like often I like sit there and like don't like it's become a pattern where I'll sit there and I like won't say anything and then you guys will say something and then I'll leave. So that's like. That's the pattern we've gotten into. We can break that pattern now that we've talked about it.
This is dope, man.
Well, Paul left, so our producer left
Paul
the room.
Paul didn't have shit to say.
I like arguing on this podcast or like
It's
discussing on
crazy.
this podcast.
So
yeah,
as
well,
you
that's the
can
thing.
tell,
like we've reached
It's like,
conclusions.
look,
we have
We're growing.
challenges.
The point of facial recognition comedy, when I thought if it was, it's diversity of perspective. We're not the same person. All of us have something valuable to say. We're not going to agree on everything, and that's fucking fine. We shouldn't. That'd be boring.
Yeah. I also
What would
think
we learn?
I also think like another thing that will maybe explain to you like what drives me is that since I've been a kid, people's like physical well-being has been like at the core of my of what I care about. And so like I know I have this perspective where I know science has a branding issue where people use our very specific language against us because we're not willing to compromise to like brand it better, right? And so because of that, people have stopped trusting scientists. The reason that the vaccinations issue came out, and I'm not saying that all scientists should be trusted. There is a like very small minority that fucks with data, that follows things that like aren't useful, like whatever. Well, that's
I
not
have a
true.
question.
But what bothers me is like all of these things with astrology, the vaccinations, the flat Earth stuff. When you start,
Flat Earth and vaccinations, I think grouping it all.
No, but
I'm not anti-science.
Hold on. Wait, let me finish.
I don't think anyone on this podcast is anti-science.
Guys, let me
We're not
finish
saying
for a second. I group those things because those two like people who are like entrenched in science are all the same thing because they undermine what scientists say. And so when we talk about like astrology, like those aren't like those patterns that you guys see aren't real. Like they haven't been proven. People have tried to, but they haven't been like
By science.
By science. That's what I'm saying. This is all within the
scientific-
context.
Yes, they haven't been proven yet.
Hold on, guys.
I like that.
You guys have to like let me get this out.
Okay.
I mean, there's a lot, so I don't want to forget what
I know.
especially if I have something in response to what you're saying.
I know, but I want to finish like a sentence. So like the reason that we have issues is because
sentences.
of the.
Sorry.
Well, I have to keep repeating myself every time you interrupt.
It was a long sentence. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
That's what
A
science
run-on
is.
sentence.
That's how science
That's
works.
grammar. Okay.
I was like, how many more commas? Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
We're gonna listen. Like, have you listened back to these last few episodes? Because you guys interrupt me constantly.
Well, yeah, it's. I think
we all interrupt each other, but
Well,
like,
yeah, but it's also, I think this is a bigger issue, but Fizaa and I have had to do that lately because we've learned if we don't interrupt, it's hard to get a word in otherwise. So that's why we do
That's
it.
how I've been. No, I think that like you guys have been doing it for a while when I don't say anything or when I'm bringing up my segment and stuff. But okay, can I finish this thought?
Sure. Yeah, finish.
So science has a branding problem. All of those things aren't like real or like actually been proven by science, and people don't trust scientists. And that is why we look at those things and we see a larger looming danger, because when people don't trust us for astrology, they're not going to trust us for vaccines. And so that's why
global warming.
Or global warming.
Or any of
the
that,
flat
yeah.
Earth thing, people are still using GPS and it doesn't really affect people's health. But it's like the fact that people think that way and think that they know more than like the data that's out there or like whatever is like an indicator that they're gonna like they can take steps to like hurt themselves or other people like through this like misunderstanding of science. So that's it. No, nobody's got anything to say.
According to Google,
I mean, it was a long sentence, so there were several points in there, but
according to Google, a third of young millennials are confused about the flat earther topic. So I think, yeah,
It's sad.
But I understand your concern. It's just like that's dangerous.
It's a dangerous mentality.
People exactly. So I do get that.
So that's why we're like, oh fuck no.
But do you
it is
feel
a
like
little crazy.
But do you feel like maybe like just because it's so close to you, you might feel more sensitive towards
yeah,
it?
it's a moral issue for me.
Yeah.
It's like I see the context of it. I'm in it. Like
it's tied to your identity because like science, being a scientist is not my identity, obviously.
okay, so
Yeah,
that's
that was
like
more-
going back to the beginning of
Yeah.
like what we were talking
But
about.
science is you identify.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
you
I identify like, and I see the effects of it. Like I see when people like don't like the fact that doctors experimented on black people and like gave them syphilis caused so much damage to the black community's like trust of doctors, and now they're suffering for it, and that sucks.
Was
And
that the trigger for it?
huh?
I
I don't know if that's a full. I mean, black people can't trust the system because the system overall has fucked them over. Like they.
I just hadn't heard that, so I was curious if that
yeah,
was.
I did. This is the first
a
time hearing.
catalyst.
I
about
mean,
that.
like I've like when the syphilis experiment.
yeah, I
the
didn't know about
Tuskegee?
that. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh wow.
It was awful. They were supposed to like test, like, you know, they brought them in and told them they were doing different things, and then they just gave human beings syphilis and didn't tell them they had it. And so, like, I
the
know
Tuskegee
which
syphilis
decade?
study. That's what it's talking about, right?
When was it?
1932 to 1972.
Yeah, it was like a 40-year thing, and it was fucking cruel as fuck. And those doctors, those people did horrible shit, and now like the entire black, like not the entire, but like a lot of black people don't trust, because you can't trust people that like hurt you before. And I understand that, but now they don't go in for, like, you know, some of them don't trust it, and then because of that they won't go in, and then that's hurting them.
You know, I think I've never been around anti-science people, which is why maybe I'm not as triggered, because everyone I've been around is down with science.
People say that, but then when I provide information or whatever, and then I don't like see you like.
But that's the thing is, what's the organizational structure of this information? You know, it's just, how organized is this? Like, where's the information being pulled? If I don't know the source of it, then sometimes, you know, I might be like, well,
so
how do I know that? I don't believe everything I hear.
Like, I
so
believe
a lot of
I have to filter.
a lot of these like so I'll tell the source of the things that, like, when on the Karen Rontowski podcast episode, I brought like the sources. But like
Wikipedia?
No, not on that. Like that was like, there are some from Wikipedia, but I brought,
For those
but I
of us
brought
who haven't listened to the Karen Rontowski episode, Karen Rontowski is the ghost hunter that we had on the podcast.
She's dope.
Several
I love
episodes
her.
back. It was a lot of fun. Pallavi came out with a lot of scientific facts, and it became a fun debate. So anyway,
yeah, I can see how you maybe felt outnumbered.
No, it's not even the outnumbered. It's like I brought studies from peer-reviewed journals, and I was saying the things from that. And so, like, Wikipedia, you're right, is a different source than peer-reviewed journals. But I don't think you understand, or like maybe you aren't as familiar with like the different levels of peer-reviewed journals, right? Because there are some that are like higher and some that are lower. And I didn't even know like the psychology one. I didn't know like how well reviewed that is.
That's an assumption, because to me, if you're telling me something, I asked you where it was from, and you said Wikipedia, and instantly that's why I'm like, oh, okay, it's information from Wikipedia. Let me finish. I'm going to take it with a grain of salt. So
yeah, that's fair. But I didn't.
But if you told me it's from this journal, and then you explained sort of the history of this journal. I showed you the study.
I had it printed out. I showed you that it was from this like psychology. Like I named the journal, and because when I like on when I'm
what was
explaining
the study specifically? Do you remember?
It was like it was like 2,000 or 20. I can't even remember if it was 2,000 or 20,000. Fuck, I can't remember what it was, because I've been looking up different studies since then. But I can send it to you again. But so like whenever I talk about like phenomenon or how things work, like I'll like look at Wikipedia for like a general understanding of it, and then if I'm like looking for like facts and figures, I look like today the topic that I have 2 like PubMed articles. So like those are peer reviewed. Like that, I should do a post. There are like different. PubMed is like a resource for a lot of different journals. So in science, there are all these people that publish their results, and like the HuffPo articles that you see at the end of it summarize facts and conclusions from these peer-reviewed journals. So basically, when you run an experiment, you reach all these conclusions, you have to type it all up in this specific format, send it into one of these journals, and then it's peer-reviewed, meaning other professors, other schools look at it, decide if you have the right conclusions from the right experiments, if you included the correct experiments, if you included the correct number, the standard for whatever field, if your steps are logical, if there's any other experiments you should run to like round out your information, and then they'll either reject it, tell you to do edits or whatever, and then they publish it. So it's like it's kind of like credits. Like they have different, or like different festivals have different like if you get into a certain festival and it's like easy to get into, then people aren't going to respect it as much. But there are other.
So I can say, like, I don't remember the content of the information you gave us, so I can't speak as to what
specifics either.
But I do, like, I think I do remember, like, I do take source into consideration because I'm not an idiot.
Yeah, I mean, everybody should.
But that was it.
Yeah. So I think like you've seen me look up like Wikipedia for like
and I love
phenomena.
Wikipedia.
Yeah, but I look at that as like a first
service
thing, and then I look at the citation. So I'll go to like the source, because I don't want to sound like an idiot on here either.
Okay, so I'll
state that it's Wikipedia.
If people want like true knowledge instead of doing Wikipedia, because like I don't know where to look up these peer-reviewed.
If you go to so I'll provide. There's a new thing called Meta that my friend works for that you can like sign up for, or even like Google Scholar. similar. You can sign up for, you can click on like different like subjects, you can click on like different fields that you're interested in, and it will send you these types of journals. And there are different journals in different fields that have different levels of respect. And as you read more and as you like associate names of like professors and stuff with like these discoveries or whatever, you'll kind of like be able to call it and like see what you're more interested in and what's, you know, like higher quality. And yeah, so there's like PubMed has a lot of really awesome resources. Elsevier or whatever is another, like you'll click on the PubMed article and it'll give you another place to download the PDF or whatever. But there's stuff out there. Like that's the beautiful thing is everybody has access to this. More people are trying to make things more open source because some things like are behind, like you have to pay for the article. If you're at a school, you can request the library to get the article. If you have any, so if your friends, if you guys want an article for me to download, I can download it for free at USC.
Tight.
So like, yeah. So literally like I wish all this stuff was more open source so that like, you know, people believed it more.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying like there's so many inconsistencies, there's so many things, but I just think it's like the best that we have.
Yeah. Well, you know, I think maybe also the defensiveness may have come from a perceived attitude of coming in to disprove. Well, you're using science to disprove something that is outside of the body of science. So that's, you know, I think maybe that's where the defense
it's
is
already.
That's where like you
Because
guys
it's
know me.
Yeah,
like,
but
you
it's
know
already-
me, you know my role, you know, like we talk about segments that I'm going to do. You guys it seemed like you were excited for me
But
to
can
come in
you-
with that perspective.
Yeah, and I am. And that's
Yeah.
the thing is like also I was surprised that maybe you felt ganged up upon because like that was the point. We were just, you know, just sharing our
It's
perspectives.
just hard when I'm like, well, here's the data, and Karen and like you guys were like, no. Like literally sometimes in the podcast you guys were like, no.
But you were also saying
no, that's
no to
bullshit.
Karen. So it's like you were saying no to the
I wasn't saying-
we brought on a ghost hunter not to like disprove ghosts.
You
know?
literally told me to bring that perspective on. We talked about it before. You were like, we want to bring her on because
I guess-
this is a thing we disagree on.
Yeah.
And you, in our first episode, we talked about it. And
That
then-
was a learning episode for sure.
yeah,
For sure.
for sure.
And I
But
think
we
now
were excited about the diversity.
But I think the other reason why science, and you're saying science is a branding issue, yeah, absolutely, because you guys don't have a lot of like people.
you guys.
I'm just calling it science.
I know.
Science people. And I will say this: I've had scientists yell at me several times, like quote unquote scientists.
Yeah, it's like
You know, and
scientists
it's like-
and atheists are very like blunt and angry.
Yeah,
Like,
but it's like it comes off, and we've talked about the whole like condescending or whatever, but it's like, you know, like Bill Nye, everybody loves him because he's a likable guy. He doesn't really call everybody an idiot unless you're Trump. You know, like it's just not, you know, and I think there's like a better way in delivering your message other than saying I'm better at you than this.
Yeah,
because I mean
it's
that's
not-
understood.
But the only reason
that's
I'm
the
saying that
rebranding
is because
thing.
she was questioning like my experience. That's what I'm like. Like you cannot deny that I have more hours in it.
Yeah,
I'm not saying I'm a better person than you, or that I have like. I'm saying in this field, I have like even in reading like papers from other fields like chemistry or what. I'm not a chemist, but I have experience like reading papers, so I know how to read papers.
Yeah,
like
I
that
mean, I'm just
easier
going
than
back to where it was triggered. It was triggered by stem cell research for cosmetics, right? And
It was
you're
just a
not
side comment.
Yes, and you're not an expert in that field. Yes, like you are, you know, you are a scientist.
Yeah, but I
You have
wasn't making a
hours.
serious comment. I was like,
I know.
"Pff,
I know.
that's
It
not
was
me
just-
going. "Pff, that's not. I think everything is science.
But it's so interesting that like it opened up Pandora's box.
Yeah, but it is science. There are like cosmetic scientists out there. I know a few. I know one that
That's
started
why-
a makeup company.
That's why I'm not.
you know?
I wasn't saying it as like a serious thing. I was like, "Pff, that's not science. When I think that everything has like the whole universe is like has science associated with it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not like that's it.
I
That's
think
not what
my-
the argument is
my-
about.
Yeah.
Understanding of
understand
science is that it's a body of information with physical proof. So,
And that
to me, that's not all encompassing because there's a lot of stuff that we probably, I mean, we know nothing. That's the thing is the more we learn, we know nothing. We know a fraction, not even a fraction of what there's to know. So I think the body of science, I think science is important. It's a resource, but I don't think it is, I think it's a way to understand the world.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But to me, like it's a way to understand. I'm in science because I believe in it, and so like I feel like it's
I'm interested in what that means.
a
Believe in
way-
it as in like what level,
so I feel like it's a way to eventually understand everything, but obviously our human race is going to die out before that happens. But but I feel like it's a way it can be applied to everything.
okay, so yeah, it's a way of life for you.
It's a way of understanding everything at some point, but right
Yeah.
now we can't. It's
That's
limited.
Okay, so that's interesting. So you apply like science to like
Everything.
Like, would you say you sort of apply it to like your relationships as well?
I get like irrationally emotional. That's not a scientific response. I'm human. Or you guys think I'm a robot.
You know what? You're the first one that said you're a robot, and we just went with it because it was a funny concept.
I don't know.
You know what I think
It never occurred to me ever independently of that you were a robot.
Yeah,
It became a thing after
I think
you
what
said it.
happens is like we make things, like we joke about things, then we make them a label, and then we get upset that we made those labels. Like we've all done it with like our whole group, right? And we're like, we'll like make these comparisons. We'll do this like with the age thing or whatever. Like at first I was like, all right, whatever. But then it became a thing and I was like, fuck this. So like, I think we all do it with each other, and then we like get upset that we compare and like whatever. So I think if maybe we could all like stop doing that, or like just only take it as a joke, or like
I think
something.
it's just talking about it, just being open, just in the moment. In the moment, if we can feel safe enough to say, hey, that bothered me, and know that I'm not saying it to piss you off, I'm just saying it to be open and honest so we can move forward.
I think
Plus also like we came into this thing, like we didn't really know each other. We knew of each other because everyone got us confused for each other, but we got to know each other in this sort of hectic, you know, like what is it called?
It's a whirlwind.
It's a whirlwind.
Yeah.
So that's just, you know, it's when you said you're a robot, it didn't occur to me that you were, but when you said that, I'm like, oh, okay, well that's information.
Yeah.
So I didn't
take
really
it with
have
a grain of salt.
Yeah.
Look at the resource.
Yeah. Look at the resource.
But in terms of like relationships and stuff, like I like try to be like I try to be realistic about what's happening, but I'm still like, we're all still human. Like we all have colored perspectives and stuff. So
yeah,
like,
totally.
I'm like, okay, like, but I will say that's part of the reason why I like have trouble lying is like, I can't, like, I have lied when necessary for like protection and stuff, but I'm like so bad at it. And I think part of it is because I'm like, scientists seek the truth constantly, even if it's painful.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm like, I think I'm brutally honest with people. I'm like, maybe like probably too much is because I'm like, well, it's the truth. And so that it definitely pushes my perspective that way.
Yeah.
What else do you want to talk? Like, discuss? What other points do we have?
I was just Googling a bunch of shit while you guys were sorting this out.
Well, okay, so JLo. So you said JLo actually uses stem cells.
I thought I heard that from like
Does that
Zahra
work?
or someone else.
That's what I want to know.
I'm not even sure if that's true.
Tell me, does that shit work?
This is, I mean,
you're gonna have to get pregnant for the sake of having a baby. You're gonna have to be someone's surrogate.
I don't know if I'm actually gonna do that.
Save me some stem cells. Save me a belly button.
Stem cells. Gonna eat the placenta.
I don't know. I mean, this is
if I have to.
this is all anecdotal, and also I don't know if these are like real scientific things. But I mean, there's a lot of beauty blogs and stuff out there that are saying that J-Lo, Jennifer Lopez, has this skin rejuvenating secret where she's using products that were not FDA approved. So she had them flown in from all over the world because they used stem cells to rejuvenate her skin. And
God, she looks
I mean,
good.
you look at her now; she's like in her 50s and she's gorgeous. So
like better than ever.
I don't know what long-term effect it has on the skin on your face, but I mean, for her,
it looks like it's preserving.
It seemed like it worked. So I don't know what's in that stuff, but I don't know.
That's a risk.
What
though.
women do for beauty, like in just even in different cultures, like butt shots. Like people are getting cement put into like their butts.
What the fuck?
I mean, we've all seen
Cardi
those.
had like backyard. I don't know what it's called. Back alley butt injections.
Something like that. I heard Mexico is where you go for your starter booty. I don't know.
Is it?
This is what I'm hearing in Hollywood.
I heard you get your butt from Brazil. I heard you get your pussy from Thailand.
Is that what it is?
Oh, what?
Yeah, they have a vaginal rejuvenation.
Well,
and it's very
a lot of trans men
Go
or
to
women
Thailand.
will
Yeah.
go to.
They'll go to Thailand for their surgeries.
At what point would you guys stop? What would you feel comfortable doing? Like levels.
I don't like invasive stuff. I'd say stuff that's subtle if I need to, but like I want to. I know that I've had a history of dysmorphia, like looking in the mirror and not seeing what's actually there.
I think living in Hollywood, we all have some level of dysmorphia where I will definitely see something in the mirror that nobody else sees. And like people around me think I'm crazy. But then I'm around other women who are way more insecure about themselves. And I realize, oh, wow, this is like really annoying to be around.
And we've all had different points like in like hanging out with each other and stuff where we've all felt like super insecure about like different things. And like it takes forever for us to like take a picture to post because we're all like, oh, like I look better in this one. You
Let's
look
talk
better
about
in
our
this one.
insecurities.
Yeah.
Let's see. I'm
I have acne. I don't like it. I'm always using like filters and stuff. And then
You heard it here, Proactive. We need sponsors.
Yo, that shit's expensive. I used to be skinnier, and I don't want to be skinnier, but I'm like, fuck, I don't have my like, I want to get abs or like I want to have like whatever. I just don't like my face. Like I like look at a picture and I'm like, is that a I have to like talk. I have to. This is a thing in general, a pattern that I have, but I have to seek outside validation to be like, is this like normal? Like, what is this supposed to look like? I talked to you guys about like, do I look good in this picture? Like, which picture is better all the time?
And that's tough. That's a really tough thing, like to look in the mirror and not. No, I get that.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, from outside eyes, you have a great face, and you know your angles too from fucking being in Hollywood for 2 years. Bitch, you know how do you know your angles?
I don't have
And how do you already have good foundation after 2 years, bitch? You know how long it took me to find good foundation?
That's because Fenty came out.
She got lucky. Fenty came
No, I
out
was-
like
Why did Fenty
rash.
come out in her 20s? I mean, in her teens. Or no,
you have
fuck.
great skin.
But it's interesting because when I was actually okay, so this goes back to the dysmorphia. I used to be pretty severely underweight. Must have been an eating disorder, but I used to see a fat person, and I look back at stuff, and I'm like, God, I look sick and so good. No, not so good, but I looked. It was gross. It was sick, and I used to think I was fat, and that's crazy.
Yeah.
To know that you can't rely on your own perspective. So in that sense, I understand having to rely on outside validation, almost just like as a method of survival.
Yeah.
I couldn't turn the lights on, the bright lights on in my bathroom and look at my face. And I was probably like the peak. That was my peak.
There definitely are like when you sometimes when I
No,
see,
I don't want to say that's my peak.
Yeah.
I'm still climbing. I'm still
We'll still
climbing. I'm
going.
peaking. If I'm gonna do what my mama did.
There's still definitely
50,
like times I see
60.
you like look at pictures and like we'll take different options for pictures and you'll be like I look skinnier in this one and I'm like no like
What are you
I see
talking
like
about?
a tiny change in like position but I'm like fucking no like what like and it hurts me I'm like I feel bad that you like see that or that you're that self-conscious like
It's a burden. It truly is.
it's so stressful. It must be like so stressful. And like we all have it, but I've like noticed with you, like
It's painful.
It's yeah. I'm like it strikes something in me where I'm like this sucks because you're so beautiful.
Oh, thank you. I think this is a table full of beautiful women, and it's so interesting that like we pick ourselves apart. Like what's like I mean, Zahra is gorgeous, obviously, but like you know, it's
Thank you.
but you always got something to say about
we
your
can't even
pictures.
say thank you, right?
No,
We're like thank you. We're like
no, but
mad about it.
Can
Why
we
are we
say-
so mad?
Can we say thank you? I know, but not in an arrogant way,
Thank
but like
you.
I know, like a deep down I know. Like
Thanks so
let's
much.
you're beautiful.
Thank you. I know.
I felt it. Yes.
Oh,
Zahra.
shit.
Zahra.
I'm not doing that.
Zahra, you're beautiful.
Thanks.
Nope. Say it.
Thank you. I can't do it.
That's
I can't
isn't that interesting though? How
I
tough
can't
that
do-
is to receive
but
that.
it's like really hard because like I grew up in an environment where there was always something wrong with me, like there was no words of affirmation in my household, but also it was also for me there was a lot of like colorism just in my house, so like my dad he would call me in Urdu it's called kalopari, which translates to black fairy or dark fairy, which because of my
Was that like
complexion.
Whitney Houston and Cinderella?
Yeah, pretty much.
Impossible.
Yeah. So it's like he meant it as a term of endearment, to make me feel better about being dark. But it's also like because he thinks like dark skin is beautiful. But then like my sister came out really light skin, and my brother came out like around the same skin tone as me, but he's a boy, so whatever, nobody cares. But so in my house, it's like my sister's a pretty one because she's light skinned, and both my parents are light skinned. So I had this complex my entire life, and I've also had people even as an adult or as I grew older. Like my nana, like she would tell me, she's like, "Oh, you would be so pretty if you had lighter skin," and I'm sure she didn't mean it. I mean, that's like decades or generations of conditioning.
They said that shit in my family.
Exactly. I've
But
also
it's still
had
so hurtful.
but we'd be at
and
like
damaging.
It's hurtful, but also as a grown up, I've been at these like networking or these South Asian networking events where like I'd be talking to like a fellow South Asian, like a brown man,
Yeah.
and he'd be like, "Oh, who's your light skinned friend? Introduce me to her."
And you're so light. That's the thing is Zahra's hella light. Like, what the hell?
But for a Pakistani girl, I'm not. I'm on like the darker skin. You know,
we
so
shouldn't
it's like
even play that game.
But that's
like, it
just,
shouldn't even matter.
But that's like
That's the
inside of me,
conditioning.
right? And
It's the programming that's running. Like,
Yeah,
and it's a
so
burden.
It's so hurtful because it's like I try so hard to be like, you know, a well-rounded, good person otherwise, but at the end of the day, none of that shit matters if you're looking at a dark-skinned girl in front of you. And it's like, it's really frustrating. And a lot of people unfortunately don't understand it. But then on top of all that, I'm short. I'm 5'1". So no matter what situation I'm in, even last night, we're in the green room, there's always somebody, man, woman, shorter, taller. Someone's always coming up to me, patting me on the head, and they're like, oh my God, you're so cute. You know, or
I watched that happen, and Zahra and I just like exchanged this look. I saw her face like just change, and I was like, this bitch is gonna murder somebody.
I mean, it's just like I've had strangers I've been introduced to like in like social settings. Like I'm at the Soho House. You think it's like a classy place, and this girl gets introduced to me, and she called me the M word. M word. She was like, "Oh my God, come here, you little midget. You're so cute."
Oh.
And I was like, "I'm not." Like people have legit asked me if I'm a little person,
and that bothers you.
and it's just like I'm a person. Like at the end of the day, I'm a person.
Do you
know,
feel like
so it's
not
like
respected and like not heard because of your like stature?
Oh yeah, often. Also, it makes me look younger too, right? Which I mean, I guess now it's like helping me, but also it's like
treat you differently.
People treat me differently automatically. People think I have some sort of Napoleon complex whenever I'm like asserting myself. People, and maybe I do a little bit because I've had to be louder and feisty, but I'm not that way all the time. Only when I feel like I need to take the floor and be heard, because otherwise I just get pushed around all the time, and it's not a good feeling always having to fight for yourself because you're small or because you're dark skinned or any of that, you know?
Yeah.
So anyway, those are my insecurities.
I sometimes give Zahra shit because I'm like the darkest one on here. So anytime she says like any like jokes about being light skinned or whatever, I'm like, hey, I'm the darkest one. Just to kind of like, because I feel like if you see it as like empathizing with me, then you'll be kinder to yourself. Do you know what I mean? So sometimes I'm just like, maybe this will like break her of that habit, or she'll see it from like a different perspective.
Well, it's interesting because you don't carry that narrative, and actually, in your family, you're light skinned. You're considered.
No.
Oh, you aren't.
No. So most of my mom's side is Sindhi, which is North Indian and light skinned, and she's one of 9 siblings. My dad is one of 2, and he's Tamil, and that's a darker family. And so like when we go and hang out, like there's another family that's half Tamil. And now another lady has married in. And so like there's a few of us that are like darker, but a lot of people are lighter, and like both sides will say like, oh, you used to be so fair. What happened?
And that's such an Indian thing. It's a Desi thing.
Growing up, I would get that all the time. Like, why did you play outside today? Now you're so dark, no one will marry you.
Do you think it's a class thing?
I got that from my mom too. Like my mom is light skinned. So like the woman in my family had this conditioning and was doing the same thing.
Yeah.
And so when it's like that, and I'm like, wait, so you love dad, but you don't love his skin. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and she's gotten a lot better, and she's like, you know, like we've talked about it over and over, and she like, but she'll still say like problematic things every once in a while because it's fucking years of it. But yeah, so I don't know if it's like I think there's like the caste or whatever because of like the being outside and having like harder jobs and like tanning more. But then also it's like there's so many ethnic groups, and I explained this to these 2 girls visiting Hollywood in an Uber a few days ago, and I explained it like this: the caste system is like the layers of a layer cake, and then the ethnic groups are like slices of that cake. So like you have the caste system running throughout all of the ethnic groups in India. And then you have like different groups that have different colors that are associated with their skin, you know, throughout. So that's kind of for our listeners or whatever.
It just like, it's crazy how ingrained in the culture it is, like your value based on your skin color. It's disturbing.
It's pretty crazy, but it seems like every woman of color has this.
That's
It's everywhere.
And it's everywhere. It's so crazy how like the white European colonization really
did a number,
fucked everybody up so badly.
Oh my God.
My roommate was telling, I just always talk about my roommate because he's so smart, but he was talking about how like the plague or something like ran through Asia before it ran through Europe. And so those countries or, kingdoms and stuff were weakened. And that's how like colonization from like white Europeans, like, so it was just happenstance, just like how us being born into these fucking bodies is happenstance.
Yeah.
And none of us can help any of it.
Well, that's I do have another perspective, but it's outside of science, so let's not even.
What is it?
But okay, thank you. Yeah, no, I do appreciate that. You know what? I think it's important for everyone to come to their own understanding of their origin and what the world is. To me, I think that's very personal. So I'll leave it at that. I think. And it's an evolving understanding.
You mean like as a
I guess spirituality.
Yeah, how they came into their being, into their body. So like their soul may have been around, but like are you talking more
a
about
level of consciousness may have existed. And I sort of see Fizaa, the human, the organism, is the tip of the iceberg, the sort of the leading edge on the physical time space continuum at this very moment. But like, sort of, there is a bigger me. I think we're all just sort of like the universe talking to itself, seeing itself. Like we're all the same to me, but we're all sort of hyper focused into very specific perspectives. So like right now I'm in the Fizaa meat suit, living the Fizaa life, doing the Fizaa story in the Fizaa movie. You're doing the same thing with Pallavi. You're doing the same thing with Zahra. Paul's doing the same thing. He left the room. We introduced him because he was just like, I am not getting in the middle of this shit.
Paul's our sound engineer and producer.
I'm going to say I love this episode.
I feel good. I feel good that we like talked up top about everything.
I think sometimes we need to do more of like just three of us because there's like we have a lot to say.
It's like group therapy.
This is our group therapy.
Real. Yeah.
And people want to hear this shit because we fucking everyone who's listening, like if someone tells you you're beautiful, receive that shit. If you can, practice this. Okay,
and
Zahra.
Some of us are really bad at taking compliments.
Zahra, I'm going to ask you to do something potentially horrifying. Obviously, you're a grown-ass woman. Do what you want. Look in the mirror. Look at yourself in the eyes and say, I am beautiful, or you are beautiful, or both. I had a good friend. We're not friends anymore, but bless her heart, she's still like a sister. She started crying. She couldn't fucking do it at first.
Yeah, I don't think I could do it.
Try it if you want to heal that part of you.
This is something... I definitely think, because labels matter, right? Like the things that we were called as kids, we're insecure about now. We have like these, complexes, whatever, how we like interact with each other when we label each other, like that stuff, almost like brainwashes us, right? And like, it is true. Oh, this was, I know we're like running out of time, but I was looking up the Botox, like science stuff, and they did a study.
We didn't even get to that.
We were talking, well, I just want to throw it out there real quick. They did a study about how it can treat depression, which you don't normally associate that.
Well, Botox is supposed to treat headaches too.
No, it has like a whole bunch of things. Yeah. But part of the reason it treats depression is from facial depression. So people that are like frowning and sad a lot, and then you relax those muscles. And so there is an association between like smiling and happiness and like that stuff. And I have the studies, you can post it later.
I have something to I actually read that study when I was in high school and horribly depressed before my parents threw pills at me.
Accessible to everyone.
And I would look
Were
down.
you trying to get Botox in high school?
No, I was so depressed that I was just trying to self-medicate. Like in class, I'd put my head down, just smile like a fucking idiot. Yeah. Just smile like an idiot just to feel better.
Thing of like saying that you're a beautiful thing, like those things, like those are, and this is another thing that I did was my therapist a few years ago. I have a really hard time celebrating anything. Like if anything good happens, I just move the fuck on and I focus on like the negative. That's like something that I need to work on. So I wrote down like every accomplishment I had that day, even if it was like getting groceries, or like getting through the day without crying, or like
that is an accomplishment.
Yeah, like some, those things. And then I stopped, and like that actually, I think it did have an effect on me because I'm like, okay, I did do a lot, and I have some, like even if it's a night at the end of the night for like a few minutes, like something positive about me.
Yeah.
And then I let it slip. And then recently, one of my friends, we were like kind of negative spiraling because we like text each other at night. And then I was like, name 3 things that you loved about today, like that happened to you that were great or that you did or whatever. And the last like week we've been doing it. We'll be like,
name them. Name 3 right now.
This weekend.
Just fucking do it.
Okay. From today, my dog's been getting better.
Yay!
I left him at home outside of his crate, and he like is using his pee pads again.
Yeah.
Because you said he was
sick.
deathly ill.
He had a seizure, and then it turns out like he got used to the drugs, and the drugs were what were causing a lot of his symptoms. So that's one thing that happened today that I love. I loved us airing shit out on this podcast because I've been wanting to like not repress my what I have to say. I like that we like got heated and then like got through it. That's great.
But you know what? Can we do that with the guests? I feel like sometimes we need to schedule these in. I feel like our listeners want to know what the dynamic is anyway, you
we
know?
ain't just cute. We got our own struggles.
Yeah. We have challenges. if
And
you can't
then
tell.
third thing, I got some rest. So I'm like pretty happy that I got
Yay.
rest. I cleaned up.
Sleep.
It was like self-care today. What are your 3 things?
My 3 things, my brother's in town, and I feel like we've come to sort of like a resolution and understanding about last time he was here. And we actually have an episode we've never released where my brother was kind of wasted, and later he's actually going into residency for psychiatry. So he self-diagnosed himself. But he felt like last time he was here, he had a manic episode, and that made complete sense because I've experienced that myself, and it wasn't him. And I've never felt like I need to watch this guy 24/7, otherwise he's gonna hurt himself. Like, so that was crazy.
You were very stressed.
So it was very, oh my God, I lost 5 pounds in a week, which I love.
Wow.
But
It's a good diet. Invite family over.
Don't listen to
You'll
me,
lose
people.
weight.
Don't listen to me. But like, it was such a relief because it was like, oh, I'm talking to a sane human again. It was like I have my brother back. So I love that.
Yay.
And I'm really happy about sort of like my new friend.
Yay!
Aw.
For those of you who've listened to
we don't
past
have to get into
episodes,
details.
you know who the new friend is.
Yeah, go back a few episodes.
Shout out to him. You're dope.
Aw.
And did I? No, I was gonna say I washed my ass, but that was yesterday.
Oh man.
But that I mean, oh, you know what? I cleaned my bathroom before my brother came, and I went
Hey.
grocery shopping, and that was like 2 things I'd been putting off forever. So
Yay.
it's
All
Three
productive things.
Zahra, your 3 things from today.
My 3 things from today.
This is how I've been doing it, but we
Oh,
can.
I don't
since
know.
We're starting. We could keep this as a segment. if
My
you
3
want.
things from today. I mean, I don't know. This podcast. I'm glad you guys worked your shit out.
you worked some singing.
Yeah, we're all
Yeah,
working it
sure. Sure. I
You
just
got a
let
little
people
kink in the
know.
armor, little kink.
Sure. Yeah.
You're beautiful, Zahra.
You're beautiful,
Thank you.
Zahra.
Okay.
That was
There's
you
one
were saying
thing.
that a little bit. I felt
I don't know. Today is hard because I don't know. I went to work today and I didn't cry in the bathroom like I did last week.
Hey.
So that's good. And then I don't know, man. I had a great birthday weekend. It was amazing. My
Yay.
friends came out. I had some great food. It was just nice. I had a lot of birthday love. It was great. Yeah.
Yeah.
Was
Yeah.
there one more?
No, that's 3.
Those 3.
I
Not
took one from
crying.
the weekend. Yeah.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
Not crying birthday and
This podcast.
podcast. Yeah, I'm glad that this podcast was like a highlight.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll add this podcast too, for
Yeah.
sure. For sure. Like, it's just, it's really hard to carry around resentments. And it's just like, yeah, we work closely together. You have different personalities, strong women, all have lots of opinions, all fucking stand-up comics. So we're all solo artists, first of
Yeah.
all. So it's just, like, I think it is really important for us to like come to an understanding and level with each other, just like as we build our work relationship and friendships.
I also think it's like we've hinted at this before. We like asked Aristotle about like how they deal with creative. We were like hinting
I remember
at
when
it.
you brought that up.
We
I
were
remember when you
hinting
brought
at
that
it
up.
before and stuff. And I think like anytime you're like more like, at least for me, like anytime that I'm more myself through like social media or like my stand up or like writing or this podcast, it feels like empowering and better. And so because people have told us like, some people have told us like you have to show up everywhere and like do everything together and like always like be like publicly like very like positive about like everything, and we want to like support each other and everything, but we also want to be real. Like sometimes we don't get along.
I always want to be real. I can't.
Yeah.
I'm depressed if I'm not real.
And so it feels good to just like be like to get it out, to be honest.
This is just the way of life for me. And I think like, yeah, and this is, I don't know. I just, it does feel like a burden if like, I don't know, if I hold stuff in.
And I think we all know that like each other's intentions are good, and then we all have like a similar like vision for like our career and like where we want to go. Oh, we have to wrap up.
I was thinking we can split this into a 2-parter and then, no,
Can we?
Maybe.
No.
We'll see.
Yeah, we
okay.
don't.
Okay.
It's not that long.
Do we have anything else we want to say? We're going to be at Sketchfest this weekend on Saturday.
San Francisco
at
Sketch Fest, you guys.
Cafe de Nord at 8 p.m. We're also going to go to the Women's March at 10.
Oh, tickets are selling out, by the way, so get those if you're in San Francisco.
Yeah, there's also
sketchfest.com.
there's limited seating, so make sure you buy your tickets early because if you wait till like 2 days before, they may be sold out. But even
Yeah,
if
Cole said that it was going to sell out.
yeah, so
Get on it.
Get on it. San Francisco Sketch Fest. For those who don't know, that is the San Francisco Comedy Festival. We are there, and it's also the same day as the Women's March in San Francisco. So come find us. We'll be there.
Mona Sheikh.
Yes, Mona Sheikh will be emceeing the Women's March. She's been on our shows. She's been on the podcast. Come out and
kill
support.
Anything else other than our socials?
Oh, gosh, the socials. Shall we? I think we just need to, we got to wrap up, so we should
Okay.
start the socials now, right?
Yeah.
Facialrecognitioncomedy.com. You'll find everything there. In case you want to go to other accounts, our Twitter is Facial Rec Comedy. Our Instagram and Facebook is Facial Recognition Comedy. Our Patreon is patreon.com/Facial Recognition Comedy. We also are going to have shirts to sell soon, and we're going to have new stickers. So if you can like go on our Patreon, you can go on our website, you can message us for those.
And they're super cute.
So cute.
Designed by illustrator Dustin Romero, super talented.
We've got
Really
Disney-fied. Okay, and then We cute. And then mine is Pallavi Ganalan, PallaviGunalan. That's my website, my Instagram, my Facebook, my Twitter.
See, I was trying not to be naughty. I wasn't going to lie. I was like,
kind.
That's my shirts. Bye.
Okay. And this is Zahra. I'm really Zahra on all the social medias. Zahra is spelled Zahra.
And I'm Fizaa Dasani, and that is, well, it's at Fizaa Dasani on all the stuff. FIZAADOSANI, FizaaDasani.com. Oh, and we have our show at Westside in Santa Monica every second Sunday of the month, so come to that.
Yeah.
If you're